interesting for all of us to talk to Allie. But it's going to be super interesting if Allie can find a way to come on. Maybe that's just, who knows why that is. So we just have to assume that Allie is doing her best. I just think, my son is reading. Wanda says Allie is the new Dorothy Parker. Will she like that? I guess she will like that. I'm sure she's feeling better because she wouldn't have accepted our invitation to come on if she weren't feeling better. That I'm sure. And thank you, MJ Foley, for saying, I love your Sunday paper. Diane FM IG, tell us about Unite that's coming up this Friday. I will tell you about Unite. Unite.us. You can go on unite.us and learn all about it. We have about 200 inspirational leaders, faith-based leaders, thought leaders, everyday people from around the globe coming together to talk about how to unite the world, how do we unite our country, how do we unite all the different parts of ourselves, actually. And you can go on, everybody's invited, everybody can play a role in that. Unite.us, it was started really out of conversations my brother Timothy had with lots of people, and so many people have come together to volunteer their time. It's going to be a huge direct relief fundraiser. We're hoping to raise millions of dollars to bring direct relief to people who find themselves all of a sudden on the brink of poverty, or on the brink, as I say. Oh, wait, there's real Allie Wentworth. She's back now. The real Allie Wentworth is back, and fingers crossed she is coming on. Hi from Cape Cod, Don Ken.
I'm so sorry.
Well, I'm so happy.
Who knew that I didn't know how to use a phone?
I mean, who knew? I would have thought someone had taught you that. You have young, hip daughters. I think you have a husband that may have used some technology in the last couple of days, but
no,
it's
he's worse than me.
He's worse than you. Well,
yeah.
You're here, and that's what matters.
Hi, everybody.
How are we, Allie?
I'm 100%.
100%.
Yes. When I first got sick, this is like a month ago, I had a very heavy chest. And I was not in the good way. And I was out on the beach with my dog, and I just was like, God, I know I'm out of shape, but it was hard to walk.
Right.
And I came home and I called George, and I said, I don't feel well. My chest is heavy. And he was great. He jumped in and said, I'm going to call your doctor. I'm worried. I think you might have COVID. And then bam, that night I had a high fever. I had body aches. And then I developed a cough. And the thing about this virus is it doesn't feel like any flu or any illness you've had in the past. I tried to explain it to George. I said, it's like you're a superhero and these weird like lights are going through your body. Like you almost feel the virus in your body.
Wow.
And thank God I emailed Andy Cohen and another friend of mine that had it, because you're so scared when you get it. You want to talk to somebody
right.
who's either going through it or has been through it. And that was so helpful. And I've said before, like if anybody who has it or they're scared, to DM me, because it was so helpful for me to know. And everybody said, take Tylenol, drink a lot of liquids.
So what did you do? How did you, you called your doctor, your husband called your doctor, but you sequestered yourself in the bed, and did you feel like you had the flu or what?
I felt like I had the flu. My body ached so much. I couldn't even lift my arm. I felt like I got hit by a truck, and I isolated for 3 weeks up in my bedroom, which is that also
3 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a very weird thing to be in a bed and be ill and feverish, and you can kind of hear your children downstairs, but you can't see them. And, I started watching like Mad Men and then I got confused because I thought I was living in the 1950s and John Hamm was my husband and I worked in advertising. So, it was there's this great scene in the movie Apocalypse Now where Martin Sheen like loses his mind in a hotel room and he stares at this fan on the ceiling.
Did you feel like that? Did you feel
Yeah.
like you did?
Yeah, I was getting a little crazy, just the idea you can't leave your bedroom. I mean, anytime I've ever been sick in the past, I could still come downstairs, like,
Right.
I don't feel well. Could somebody get me some soup, that kind of thing. But to feel like no one wants to see you or touch you, you can't be anywhere near anybody. And, it's,
what's so weird also is that, your husband tested positive, but he doesn't seem to have any of the symptoms that you had. And this disease seems to play out so differently in people in the same house.
Well, that's what's so crazy about it. And also, I remember when I was starting to get better, so many people were emailing me about, where do you think you got it? Where do you think you got it? And I said, anywhere. I can't tell you where I got it. I could have gotten it from my husband who was, in the city and then at ABC very early on. I could have gotten it from, Milano cookies from the grocery store, I mean, I was talking to Gail King and she texted me. She goes, where do you think you got it? I said, Gail, I could have gotten it from romaine lettuce. And she texted me back and she goes, do you think you got it from romaine lettuce? No, Gail, let's not bring down the lettuce corporation. So,
but I think that just speaks to how freaked out everybody is. I think that speaks to all of these different news reports that come and say it's on the surface. Maybe you got it here, but you have two people living in the same house. Your kids didn't get it. Your husband got it, but he went about his business.
He was asymptomatic, which I say is very indicative of our lives. That I, of course, get sick as a dog and he doesn't feel anything. Our kids have been fine, nothing. They've been Zoom schooling and they're okay. And, that's the thing when I read all these reports and also the symptoms are so different for everybody.
Yeah.
It's like some people had a sore throat. I didn't have a sore throat. I have a friend, he lost his taste and smell for a month. I didn't have that problem. So, I thank God that for right now, there's not a huge amount of kids are getting it because that was the one thing that terrified me at the beginning was like my children.
People said, Allie, they asked me to ask you, were there signs that you think in the beginning you missed before you had this feeling in your chest? Did you feel like I'm getting flu-y and you just powered through?
No, I didn't because at the time, I was so anxious about it. And I was one of those people that was like, maybe I already had it and maybe, but my first sign was a very heavy chest and my breathing was hard. And it's almost like if anybody's ever been on a high altitude, or, I just was, or in my case, if you run 100 yards or if you've done 3 loads of laundry, my chest was very heavy and it was unusual and it was not any sensation I'd felt before. However, people have had what seemed like cold symptoms when it started out. So that's the thing. There's nothing, the unfortunate thing, and because of the business you're in, there's no real answers and everybody's contradicting everybody about what to do, which makes it scarier.
That makes it scary. Your husband is saying that normally you're the one taking care of the kids and him, and this was a total role reversal in your house. What was that like for you? What has that been like? A lot of people experiencing kind of, if they get it, a sense of helplessness, if they're at home, a feeling of isolation, a feeling of like, who is going to take care of me? Will someone take care of me? What's that going to be like?
Well, I think it's interesting. One of the things I've been thinking about a lot lately during this time is obviously how the world is rebooting and where there's going to be a whole new way of doing things, but also just how people are dealing with isolation and how marriages are.
Yeah.
So this was a situation where, yes, I take care of the kids in the home. George is incredibly busy, has a very busy job. And now I was sick and you don't know what that's going to look like, or, is your partner going to step up? And he was a rock star. I mean, he really kept everything going, dealt with the kids. You know, we have 2 dogs, like we just kept the house going. The only thing is that when I came down after 3 weeks, our house looked like a frat house during pledge week. I mean, it was really, you've never seen so many dirty dishes. You know, there was a lot of like vacuuming and laundry, and there was a hygiene issue that I had to deal with. So, you know, as soon as I got my strength back, you know, I vacuumed and cleaned, and it felt like a normal house again. But
yes. I'm looking at some...
if he hadn't stepped up and also had to feed me, had to put stuff on a tray and everything, I don't know what I would have done. And, you know, I think a lot of the times when I was lying in my bed, I thought, my God, what if I were a single mother? I had COVID. Bingo. I lost my job, and I've got kids.
Yeah.
I you know, and I'll tell you one other thing. It's such a like a weird time right now. We're all isolated, but also I understand now the power of a gesture of kindness. Yeah. You know, because you go through this thing, and, you know, George went to the pharmacy with a mask and gloves to get me antibiotics when we thought we had pneumonia. And somebody called the press to say he wasn't, you know, he was corona shamed. His wife is really sick. Yeah. And then another neighbor I've never met, left me a note and said, if there's anything we can do, if we can drop off groceries, you know, and that meant so much. And so now that I'm better, I'm trying everything I can to help people in my community, because it really, really means something particularly when you're sick and not feeling well.
I think that a lot of people asking on here, I think your point, first of all, if you're a single mom, you've lost your job and you get sick, what is that like? If you are alone and you get sick, who is there to care for you? That's a huge issue, because so many millions of people are alone. My son, Patrick, who normally does this with me, moved back in because my kids were all freaked out that I'm in the vulnerable category and that they were going to get...
What are you talking about? You're 35 like me.
I know. Last I checked, I thought I was, but this whole period of time, I've been feeling like, oh my God, or I'm being told by them that you're vulnerable, stay inside. But I think that the issue, as you're saying, is that there's so many people who are alone. Yes. And if they get sick, who will help them? And I think also the other thing I'm interested in is, now when you go out, do you feel people are looking at you differently, wondering whether they can get this from you?
I really don't go out, but when I've gone out, I have a mask and gloves. And so I thought I was invincible. And then you start reading all these reports that having had COVID doesn't mean that you can't get it again. You know, I'm just, my feeling is I'm just going to stay home. I'm seeing a lot of people asking about my medicine, and Tylenol was huge, but I took a Z-Pack right away.
Okay, so right away when you got diagnosed, you took a Z-Pack.
Yes, because I wanted to make sure it wouldn't turn into an infection. Then when I started to get a cough, my doctor put me on a very strong, like amoxicillin, because it seemed like, or it could be heading towards pneumonia, and we wanted to make sure that wasn't going to happen. So, but it's a lot of Tylenol and a lot of liquids and a lot of zinc and a lot of vitamin C.
So, but right away the Z-Pack, then amoxicillin, coupled with Tylenol, zinc, vitamin C,
and so much juice and water. I mean, George would FaceTime me and go, drink, because you got to keep the liquids going. That's a big part of it.
And are you getting retested? That was one of the questions here.
Yes, George got retested, and he tested positive for the antibodies. And so he's going to see if he can donate blood and help in any way he can. I'm going to try to get tested. It's very hard to. And I will probably do the same.
And your kids, absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Somebody said, how high was my fever? It got up to 103 something.
And how much zinc here?
God, you'd have to talk to your doctor. I took a lot of zinc. I'm not saying the vitamins will cure you. I'm saying, you know, they do help.
Yeah.
My kids were never tested though.
Got it. But they didn't seem sick or anything. Did they seem scared?
They've never seemed sick.
But did they seem scared when they realized that you had COVID and that you were in this room and that you were isolated? Did your husband tell you the kids are really scared about you?
I was sort of hoping, you know, in a sort of narcissistic way that they were scared. They weren't scared because we downplayed it. We didn't want them to be scared. So there was a lot of like George watching Love Island Australia and kind of ha ha ha, you know, mom's okay, because the last thing you want to do is add more anxiety to the household.
Yeah, the thing that's so,
as one of my teenage daughters just crossed.
Yeah, I saw that. That's what I think is really interesting, though, is some people talk about this heavy chest, this loss of smell, and then they're in the ER in an hour or two, and then they're on a ventilator. Other people get it and they go to work. Other people are like you in the house and they're isolated. The range of symptoms, the range that this seems to be impacting people is all over the map.
Yeah. Yeah.
It completely did. And that's what I think is so scary. So do you find a lot of people reaching out to you through DM saying, you know, what did you do? How did you feel? How long did it take?
Yes. Yes. And, you know, I'm not a doctor at all. I don't think I passed biology in 10th grade. No. I haven't even played a doctor on TV. So a lot of the questions I couldn't answer. It was more about, what did I do? The other thing I can say is if you can get the oxygen meters, you know, you put your finger in and it reads your oxygen when you're sick.
Oh,
even if you can borrow it from somebody or Amazon or, you know, my doctor lent it to us, but that's very, very helpful because you need to check your oxygen levels because the fever is one thing, but if your oxygen levels get too low, that's when they want you to go to the hospital.
And so right now you feel kind of you're 3 weeks, you're out, you're in your living room or your family room, but you're not actually going out.
No, I go out to get fresh air.
Right.
Everyone's saying pulse oximeter. Yes. To get fresh air, but you know, not with anybody, you know, and wearing a mask. And, but I'm not, no.
I want to ask you, Allie, you talked a little bit about making, you know, I watched Mad Men and I kind of started going crazy, but did you also find yourself, you said thinking about, oh, if I were a single mom and I lost my job, what would that be like? But this has been such a reboot moment for millions of people on so many different levels. Do you feel that like there have been changes within you internally that will actually carry on in your family and in you post this?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What?
I think when it comes to my family, I think this time together has been so great. I mean, we're a close family anyway, but we would never have this time otherwise. And certainly my husband, who works very hard and, you know, different hours because he's on GMA. As a family, we've really spent a lot of time together and it's been great, you know, really great. I also think about, you know, as the world is rebooting, I think about how important it is to help other people and how important it is to the people that have lost their jobs, their nest eggs, people they know have died. And I think if we don't take advantage of the things that we've learned from this about helping communities and helping people, then, you know, all of the dark stuff of what we've been going through is for naught. You know, and I think, I don't think people are going to socialize the way they did. I mean, look, there's a part of me that's sort of likes being home and cozy. And I think of all the stuff that I went to where I thought, oh, such a waste of time. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to be there, you know. Certainly you can understand that.
Well, I think it's interesting. I was saying before you came on that this week, I'd had this whole week booked out 8 or 9 months ago because my youngest son was graduating from college this week. And it just shows you look down at your calendar and there's nothing on it. And I look at the whole month of May, there's nothing on it. And so certain things, you know, obviously going to a graduation, you wish that were still on it, but you realize how many things you had there that you felt you had to do that were a part of some reason you thought they belonged there. And they're
And
not there anymore.
can I tell you something about having two teenagers?
Yeah.
Do you know what's gone?
What?
Is FOMO, fear of missing out, is gone.
That's
Because
fascinating.
Everybody's in the same boat. They're not missing out on anything.
And I think that so many families, like you're saying, are experiencing their families in a completely different way. They're experiencing their husband or their wives or their partners. They used to get up and all go in different directions. And now people are home. They're homeschooling kids. They're, trying to work in a small space, or they're, having lost their jobs, but they're in situations they never would have imagined 2 months ago. And all of this has happened in such a short period of time, right?
Yeah.
Just remember, like 2 months ago, people were like going about their business, and now all of a sudden it's completely different. So people have said to me, I don't think this will last. I remember after 9/11, people were really kind to each other, and then boom, it went back to the way it was. I'm really hopeful that a lot of what you're talking about, gestures of kindness, being able to see things that we couldn't see before, recognizing the worth of certain jobs that perhaps we didn't recognize before, that will stick.
I think so too. I mean, I think that people aren't going to go to the office or their jobs in the same way, because I think people are realizing there's a lot of stuff you can do where you don't have to be in the office. I think it's going to change how we see music and sports. I actually hope we go back to the normal way, because it's fun to go to concerts and sports and big events, but yeah. I think it changes the dynamic of the family. I would also say that, I think it's important for those of us that are having a very positive experience, being isolated with their families, that there are families out there that are suffering. But what kills me is the abuse factors that have gone up so much, domestic violence.
Absolutely.
And I think that those are the people that we need to reach out to, because they're actually not having a positive experience with this.
Well, there's so many people. I mean, there are many, obviously, doctors who are experiencing their own trauma from working round the clock and trying to save lives of other people. That we had a doctor on here the other day who was saying they're now seeing, acute cases of depression, suicide attempts, people coming at their wits' end. So there are, as I've said on here, we're having a collective experience, but a very individual experience as well. And so I think sharing experiences, reaching out to people, as you said, telling people if they feel sick, they can DM you. That's probably not something you would have done 2 months ago, right?
No, but I know what it is to be scared and to feel sick and not know what's going to happen. And I was just, all you're doing is watching TV going, oh my God, these numbers and the morgues in New York. And I'm a New York City girl. So it's all terrifying. So for me, I had 2 people I could speak to, but I do have a DM. And if you're scared, or if you're, again, I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you what to do, but I can say what I did. And I can give you a little dumb emoji.
Allie Wentworth, I think it's so great that, first of all, I'm so glad you're feeling better.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that you're here to offer advice and at least comfort and suggestions to people who might be scared, who might feel like I'm about to get it, or I had it, or someone I love had it. And also to talk about it in a positive way, about a role reversal that worked. I think,
thank God I didn't want to be single again.
Trust me. But
nothing like dating during a pandemic.
Yeah, although my son tells me that dating is up, it's virtual dating. So I don't know, but that's what, you don't have to worry about it. So don't worry about it.
Okay.
But if you have questions about it, Allie just said you can DM her. She has information about, I think, what you did, the Z-Pack, the amoxicillin, the zinc, liquids, and then obviously having somebody to care for you is really critical. And then, and then also understanding that people in the same house manifest this disease in a very different way.
Yep.
And that there are also so many other things that are going on outside of our world right now, whether it's people in domestic violence situations, people under pressure. There's so many ways that we can give, that we can help out, that we can offer relief to our fellow citizens all across the country. That's also a great message that you're sharing on here.
And by the way, everybody, wherever you are in the country, in your community, there are food banks and there are people. I'm a big believer and all of us, you know, being here. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you. The real Allie Wentworth. Thank you. So nice to see you again. Thank you for figuring out the technology and joining us. I'm sorry
so
my
nice to
son
see
wasn't
you.
here. Nice to see you. God bless you, and take care, and say hi to George for us.
Well, my 17-year-old girl is sorry that your son wasn't there either.
I know. Well, maybe some other
Big
day
heart
we
throb.
can join. We can get him to come, or I can get him to come in person. Okay. All right.
Thanks, Maria.
Allie. Take care. Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, great. Allie went with a lot of really good advice in there from the real Allie Wentworth. So great that she's doing well. I was really interested that she took a Z-Pak right away, that she was prescribed amoxicillin. Obviously, everybody's different. Always check with your doctor. But I think a lot of people are saying on here that that was really helpful, which I'm glad. It was helpful to me too, to talk to somebody. I think really important when someone like that also offers you the opportunity to DM them, to maybe ask about your symptoms or the symptoms of someone that you love that might be in your own home or might be far away. That's also really helpful. And I think it's really helpful when somebody stands up and says, you know, I want to help. I had this experience. It was scary for me. And I want to share my experience, or at least offer you a helping hand. That was done for her. She wants to do it for others. And then my friend Wanda is saying important to laugh, or I'm laughing, or I'm maybe laughing at myself. Who knows? But anyway, the real Allie Wentworth, she's terrific to have joined us today. And I want to thank her again. A lot of you saying a new world that would be kind, helpful, and open would be really nice. I agree. Oh, you're right. Somebody just said I need Christopher on as a special guest. That's such a good idea. I will maybe ask Christopher and his friends if they would like to join us on Friday ahead of their virtual graduation that I'm trying to organize. I'm trying to organize the graduation on Zoom. I'm kind of trying to get these little fake cap and gown things and, you know, doing some takeout from Zingerman's in Ann Arbor. If any of you have ever been to Ann Arbor, Zingerman's is the go-to. So I'm going to try to order some food from Zingerman's. I am going to do that, play some music that is important to them. And it's a huge moment in, I think, so many young people's lives, right? Graduation. I'm also trying to find a great commencement speaker. Who would be a really good commencement speaker that all they have to do is speak like 2 or 3 minutes, 4 minutes on Zoom. So if you have any good ideas, Maggie Cummings, you're from Michigan. Great. Maybe I need some help. I'm looking for a photographer who could go over and take some pictures from a social distance that could mark the moment so he at least has something. They say they're going to actually have this graduation next year in 2021 in the spring, God willing. But Saturday was to be the big day in the big house. So I'm trying to figure out how to have a big day in a little house. Or, yeah, all these boys are in a little house in Ann Arbor. John Krasinski, I know. He'd be a great one, but I can't. My son-in-law was supposed to book him for me, but didn't happen. So I have to get somebody who could help me get to him. I need to, get Oprah. Yeah, I do know her. Yeah, Obama, I do know him, but national commencement speaker. That's a really good idea, because if he just gave one big giant commencement speech, we could all just download it and then use it for our virtual. Governor Cuomo, that's another good idea, but I think he's kind of busy, and I don't know that he would do that. If he did it, he'd probably wouldn't do it for Michigan. He would do it for a New York school. Anyway, that's kind of what's on my mind on this Monday mind. Thinking about my gratitude for Allie Wentworth for sharing her time and her wisdom about COVID and her story. That's what's on my mind. What's on my mind is my son and the graduation. And what's on my mind is that I'm grateful for all of you who joined us. Oh, I'm really grateful for the Sunday paper. And I'm so glad so many of you get the Sunday paper and joined us for Sunday Paper Live yesterday. The Sunday Paper is our free digital newsletter. And every Sunday, we try to inspire hearts and minds. We try to move humanity forward one person at a time. It's our newsletter, and our goal is to make your life better, to help you see yourself as the architect of change that you are, to help you see yourself as divine, which you are. There's no religion there. It's just a truth. We're all divine. We're all here to do something powerful and meaningful. And the Sunday Paper tries to open your eyes and your mind and your heart to that truth that exists in all of us. So I hope you follow the Sunday Paper, get the Sunday Paper, and enjoy the Sunday Paper. So, Allie Wentworth for a commencement speech. Yeah, that's good. That's a good idea. I know her. We just booked her, but I already asked her to do this, so I can't kind of ask her for two things at once. But I love all these suggestions, so keep those commencement ideas going. And Tom Brady, he should speak. Of course, he went to Michigan, so I think I should get like a Michigan alumni. They'd be more open, I think, to doing something for that. I should be the speaker, says my friend Wanda. Yes, well, I'm going to bring up my speech that I gave at USC. It was about the power of the pause. And I think if I were going to speak today about the power of imagination, the power of reinvention, the power of resetting your dreams, and the power of America 2.0, all of these young people are going to come out and reshape our country, reshape our dreams, and reshape their futures. They may not be coming out into the job market they wanted. They may not be coming out into the world that they envisioned just a few short months ago, but they're coming out into their world, and they can each shape it in a profound and everlasting way. And I think there's great hope in that. And Kristen Bell, is she from Michigan? I didn't realize that. Wow, that's a really good idea. Mitch Albom, he's from Detroit. He was in the Sunday Paper this week. I didn't realize he was originally from Detroit. These are really good ideas. I'm going to, Trevor Noah, these are really good. Sanjay Gupta, yes, he was just on. He's from Michigan. I know that. He was just on our Home Together about a week ago. He's terrific. I really like him. He's doing so well on CNN. Even though I work for NBC, I watch him on CNN. He's really so knowledgeable and such a good person. And so some of you are asking me about how do you get the Sunday Paper. You just sign up for it. You can go to mariashriver.com and get the Sunday Paper. You can swipe up and do all these things, and you just get it. You subscribe to it. You can follow the Sunday Paper on Instagram. It has its own account. And Madonna, she's from Michigan too. Wow. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Maddie, you live in Grand Rapids. Mitch Albom does so many wonderful things for Detroit. Wow. Joe Martin is a University of Michigan graduate. I know that. Derek Jeter, I don't know, did he go to Michigan? Wow, I love all these ideas. These are so exciting. I never thought that we'd be doing this today, but that's Eminem. I know my kids all said to me, Eminem, get Eminem. I'm like, could you make it a little bit easier for mommy? Yeah, the link in the bio, Maria Shriver for the Sunday Paper. Woo! So you just do that. It's free. And you just get it. And hopefully you like it. And hopefully it gives you something to talk to your friends about. But most importantly, I hope it just gets your week off to a good start. And I hope you makes a difference in your life. That's the goal. And I just played Eminem's Mama in a music video. Whoa, gosh, Kid Rock. Yeah, my son-in-law suggested that. I'll put together a list for you. Okay, well, that's great. Anyway, tomorrow, Lester Holt is going to be here. He's going to be talking about the news business, the future of the news business, NBC Nightly News for Kids. Maybe Patrick will be back. Maybe he won't. Maybe if he doesn't come back for a couple of days, I have to get a new co-anchor. I'm going to have to ask the dog to join me. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you for all the congratulations regarding Catherine and Chris. That's really nice. All of these notes. I really appreciate that. And God bless you all. And I hope you have a great rest of the day wherever you are. Thank you for joining Home Together, and I will see you back here tomorrow on Home Together. Grateful. I love somebody said Lester Holt has a fantastic forehead. I'm just going to leave you with that. Okay, bye.